Blessed are the supreme lords of creation.
I was about to spend the weekend with two members of a religious organisation called the Behaviour Society as part of an exploration into alternative lifestyles. Stuart had come to pick me up and take me to their B&B, where we would meet his partner, Catherine. He got talking to us on the way.
What got me was bread.
Bread?
Yeah.
Okay.
You think about bread.
Yeah.
So if you find out that white bread has got all the goodness taken out of it, and it's an extra process, why would people do that? I'm the sort of person who likes to find out about things.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I can remember at work listening to people just listening to them talking about their religions.
Right.
And questioning them about them. You just be interested.
You were just fascinated.
This earth and mankind and us and what we're doing here, I understand this is a classroom.
Right.
We're in the class called Earth, and we're all here to learn stuff and to evolve. I'm a great believer in, seek and you will find.
I mean, that's got some inherent truth in it, because obviously if you're out there looking for information, you're going to find it, right? I mean, you're actively searching for it.
I went to a lecture in 1996. It was at a Truth Seekers conference. When I was there was people talking about conspiracy this and cities under the ground and, different things that, you probably see a lot of on YouTube these days. And there was a man from an organisation called the Behaviour Society. There was a couple of people talking about this yogi master called George King and his contacts with extraterrestrials. Anyway, I studied George King thoroughly for the next 2 years to find out if it was true or not.
Right.
And I came to the conclusion that it was. And it turns out that he is a spaceman. He's not from this planet. And it turns out that the whole of this solar system is inhabited by advanced life. They're not allowed to interfere with our free will. You ever seen Star Trek?
I have.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, in Star Trek, the prime directive is that you don't interfere with the free will of the people, isn't it?
Yeah, sure, right. They go and they save the aliens, but they don't intervene.
Exactly. You don't interfere with their history and their evolution. Well,
right.
that is a reality here, apparently. People say, well, there can't be spaceships. If there was, they would land on the White House lawn.
Right.
Now, that is someone's reality, their sort of take on what would happen. But from the space people's point of view, they're not allowed to. The only way they can interfere in what goes on, they manipulate karma. They're not the makers of the law. They're just trying to figure out what the fuck it is. You filming?
Oh, sorry, yeah, they'll be filming.
Okay.
If you feel comfortable being filmed.
Yeah, I'm cool.
That's cool. Has that knocked your train of thought?
No. I'm just.
It does me sometimes.
Such a big subject. No. The thing is that I don't know where I want to. How deep down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
I'd been looking into alternative belief systems for months when I finally made contact with Catherine and Stuart, a devout religious couple living in the seaside town of Ilfracombe in North Devon. In a world where access to information is almost infinite, I hope to understand why people choose to adopt alternative beliefs, when in so many cases they rely on such vast leaps of faith.
The reason why we have got to this position of being extreme on the end of the scale, because we are, compared with most people.
Yeah, definitely.
The majority is kind of in, at this end of the scale, and we're at this end, is because of well, partly to do with our own health issues, which we have cured as a result of taking these other choices. And this is where, you know, you go down the rabbit hole still further.
Yes,
and
sure.
it becomes very insidious. And, you know, with your filming, you're going to probably have to decide how much of the scale of what we say to you that you want to include. What you can probably do is make a couple of different films, or even several films.
Sure.
So you make one which is the more palatable version, which can go out to probably most people, and then you make one where things get, you know, where it gets a bit more hardcore and a bit deeper, and then you make the one which is actually, you know, Agenda 21, which is population control. And I don't know if any of you you've even looked into this.
Population control.
Yes,
I mean, I've heard people talk about it, but again, like I don't go through the internet and sift for these things.
Yeah.
Should you have a cup of tea?
Let's have a cup
of tea. After a short break, Catherine and Stuart showed us some of their memorabilia. I was intrigued by the prevalence of the figure George King in nearly every picture around the house. And that afternoon, Catherine and Stuart decided to take us up the Holy Mountain, Holston Down, which in truth was smaller than I expected. Yet, nonetheless, the site where the ex-taxi driver turned cosmic master Sir George King first made contact with the alien spirit, Jesus Christ.
Jesus was standing there, he had a wand of power in his hand, and he levelled it at George King, and, I say George King, he said he saw this vivid blue flame coming out of it, and he had to close his eyes and hold his hands up, and this energy was flowing out from him across the land. And apparently the first thing it did was it stopped a war that was about to break out in the Lebanon. So you can Google that one.
1958.
Yeah, 23rd of July 1958.
He met a Martian down at that crossroads there.
Not here?
Not here, no.
Right, okay.
It was just Jesus who he told us came from Venus. The Venusian, the Martian before that took him on a walk down this
along the way we came
where
in the
we've
car.
just been. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through that opening practice again. I think it would be good if we started with a practice called the 12 Blessings.
Okay.
Our motivation is to bring world peace, is to bring harmony, is to bring actually more space people openly among us.
Let's tune into our lovely Mother Earth in our own time.
O Divine Father of all wondrous creation, we raise our minds to you now, requesting that your power may fall upon the heads and penetrate the hearts of all men, so that they may be stronger in their spiritual purpose. If you don't know it from another tradition, then you can just keep sending out the energy through your house.
Just visualising the white light pouring out. That'd be great.
Okay, yeah. I'll do my best.
Yeah.
Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum,
Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum.
We thank you for all the other cosmic involvement in this mission. We thank you for allowing us to be here on this holy mountain, Holston Down. Then to finish, we take the right hand over the left palm. And that's like a sealing mudra. It means, it's like turning the taps off. It means that we've finished sending out energy.
How do you think we did?
Very well. You
Yeah?
did very well keeping your hands up for that
It's
amount
hard.
of time.
Yeah,
Yes.
it gets you.
Yes.
Yeah. And is there? I mean, do you guys ever hope for an appearance or anything like that?
We
Would
do
be
if
nice.
we work hard enough. Yeah.
Right, I see.
That's why we're up here. We are like the pioneers. We
Okay.
are like the ones who live here and who come no matter what. My dad thought that I'd been taken up by a cult. So he decided he wanted to come down on a pilgrimage. It was raining as we went up Holston Down. It was tipping it down.
Right.
And we started the mantra, and as we chanted and prayed,
Yeah.
after 5 minutes from being pouring rain, the sun came out. Or, you know, it stopped raining anyway. The sun definitely came out later in the day.
Yeah.
It was not a cult. I mean, you know, it's not an organisation that you have to pay thousands of pounds to join.
Right.
You know, you're talking about 40, 50 pounds a year.
Right, okay.
It's not, and you don't have to keep paying something. You just pay once a year, like
Yeah.
you would a club membership. But he could see that what I was doing was okay.
And did he get involved himself?
No, he didn't.
They presented their beliefs with such conviction that I couldn't help but wonder what had driven them to follow this alternative path so willingly. We sat down later that night for a chat. You mentioned earlier about an experience with electric shock therapy.
Yes.
To do with your depression.
That's right.
I just wanted to kind of get into how that was as an experience for you.
Well, I don't remember it. I was out. I mean, I was probably anaesthetised. They were trying to take me out of a bipolar, delusional state, what was called manic depression in those days.
Right.
I was not... I'd lost my sense of reality. I went to a place and in the night put on the fire alarm and woke up a lot of people. And it was a school. And they took me away on my own. Nobody accompanied me, bearing in mind it was the middle of the night. I think it probably was the only choice at that point.
Right, the only way.
Probably the beginnings of my life going off balance was when my mother was ill and I was doing my A-levels, and she died when I was 18. And she was very ill with cancer between the ages of 15 to 18. And I would see her and I felt she's being poisoned. The treatment to me didn't look right. You know, every time I saw her, she looked worse. And that was chemotherapy, radiotherapy. And at the end of it, she looked like a bird, a young fledgling that's dropped out of its nest.
You can see it in the way that they're promoting all of the poisons that people consume.
Fluoride in toothpaste. You know, fluoride is a class 2 poison. It's something
and in
which
drinking water to dumb down the population. You know, imagine what the future's gonna look like when you get, you know, thousands of autistic grown-ups, you know, who need to be looked after. You know,
He was a very reassuring person, Stuart, for me.
Right, yeah.
I feel safe with him.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I wouldn't actually be sitting here talking to you about this without Stuart being here. Because I still have fear around exposing my choices to people because of what we've been saying, you know, because people ridicule it.
Okay.
They don't believe it.
Okay.
They think you're mad for even saying it. So I think what I had to do is reassure myself completely, I am not mad.
Right, yeah.
I'm more sane than most people on this planet, and I've made much more sane choices than most people have.
Do you feel all right?
Yeah,
Do you need to
I'm
take
okay.
a minute? Yeah. I mean,
good.
you know, I really don't want
I
to push
do
you.
cry quite a lot. It's part of my natural
A
makeup.
way of expressing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I mean, I just want you to know that I don't want you to feel
Yeah,
pushed
it's
for
okay.
anything.
No, I'm not feeling pushed.
Okay, good. That's
My
cool.
main homeopathy tutor used to say, Catherine's here There'll be a light shower this morning.
Okay.
I've worked with people with bipolar, manic depression, mental health problems, and if you look at diet and lifestyle and meditation and yoga and taking away stress and trauma, you can cure those illnesses, and that's a controversial statement.
Okay, first exercise, we all want to be standing up, sort of down the centre of the room, because you're going to need room to swing your arms.
After a surprisingly lively yoga session, we were introduced to Jack. He'd been taken in by Catherine after a dark period, along with Lynn, Jack's girlfriend, and her youngest son, Ossian. Jack's story reminded me of Catherine's comments about curing mental illness. I hope to see a demonstration of a life improved by alternative thinking, and I think Catherine wanted me to see this too. So what was it you were doing down there?
We were doing like street busking, for instance, with a busking amp, but also like setting up like, I was going like collecting things off the beach and turning it into art, doing it street art as well, like with like chalks and things. We didn't have the right look. They were calling us gypsies and drug taking people.
Why did they call you drug taking?
They just, in this area, it was a very influential area, but when we were building it, there was like, by our look, they just sort of surmised straight away that we were into all this like stuff, but we were actually there to try and educate, weren't we? It was a school for dealing with people that are ex-drug addicts or just general people, wasn't it?
It has to be said that there were some drugs taken and there was alcohol drunk as well. I mean, just...
Well, I feel that if you're anywhere, you do anything, because, it's in everywhere.
How did you sort of get in touch with Catherine in the initial period?
I met you first in the Pack of Cards garden,
right,
and you were having a drink with a friend of yours who I think you said you were married to at one point.
Right.
And then you were doing a gig over at the theatre in Ilfracombe, and I came over for your gig, and then later you called me, and that's when you came to stay.
I started with the music and I went back into the scene and started drinking and smoking, and to a point where I crashed and I was like, I need help. And I reached out to Catherine, knowing that Catherine did detoxes and things like that, and I still didn't know too much about it. And I thought, right, that's what I need to do. I was classed as having multiple personalities at the age of 6. I was sent off to different places for this illness. The alternative movement doesn't call you mental in that way. It's like, okay, you've got these things happening, let's explore them.
And if you look at an African tribe, African tribes are always singing, dancing, creating, playing. It's part of their rhythms. They're totally in connection with nature.
Catherine seemed sure of Jack's self-improvement, but I would like to have heard more from him about her influence over his life, and whether he feels that her alternative methods have truly banished his demons. For Catherine, nature seemed the answer for everything. She offered to apply it in the form of homeopathic medicine to a cough I'd had for the past few weeks.
Did anything happen at the time that it came on?
I think it came quite soon after a long drinking session with one of my...
The Berlin one?
I think it was. Well. We were in Berlin,
Right.
So I had to look after him the day after.
He
Absolute
did.
nightmare.
Right.
Joe was with me in the room.
Because I'm the responsible one, I suppose.
Right, you must be. You guys,
That's not good.
It's not a coincidence that you've come here. And you've got a very good influence in the form of Joe here as well.
We do.
I'm sitting pretty, lads.
Joe is good as gold, it's true.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking, because of what you've said, of several different remedies. Phosphorus is one of them.
So are you also taking into consideration my personality
Yes.
and how
Yes.
you've got to know me? And phosphorus is something that's akin to that?
Yes.
Okay.
I see that the phosphorus person is the one who's very good at connecting people, absorbs a lot.
Okay.
But in this case, what I'm going to do to make it clearer for the camera
Yeah.
is I've got something which looks like a protractor here, which is what I often do for clients that I'm working with to make it obvious what I'm doing.
Right.
So I'm now asking, would tuberculinum be a good remedy for Alfie? And do you see how my pendulum is swinging round towards that side? It's not going that way.
Would I get a similar result if I did it?
It's like you need to practice. You can just ask simple questions to start off with. So you might want to ask.
Give me a yes.
Give me a yes.
Can I try it with the graph?
Well, just to make it simpler for you to start off with.
Oh, right, okay.
If you say you want to work out what your yes and what your no is.
So yes is to my right.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
In your case.
So I make it so that yes is to the.
You are going to discover just by holding the pendulum and saying, what is my yes?
What is my yes? He's a bit shy now. Come on.
It's going round.
It's going again, and it is going.
Yes.
Yeah, I can actually see it. It's sort of going.
That's right. So you're sensitive, phosphoric type. You pick up energies quickly and easily. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to put 6, 30, 200, 1M, 10M. This is the potency, which is the optimum potency for Alfie of this remedy. It's a 6C. Okay, so now we can make that up for you on the radionic machine.
Okay.
This is a very old-fashioned type of radionics machine.
Is it plugged in?
It is plugged in, I think. So we're going to put in here 7, 8, 3, 5. So there we go. And this is the potency, that I mentioned to you. So
okay.
That we want a C, not an M, and we want a 6. So there we go. Now in here we have sugar pills. That's what these are called, okay? This is the original invoice. I bought this machine it's the Mark IV Remedy Maker. I paid 830 quid for it. And I had £1,000 when my grandfather died.
And this is what it went on?
My grandmother died, actually, and this is what I spent it on. So we've got the rate in there, we've got the potency, we put that into the right-hand well, we press on and make, and that's all we're doing. And then the energy is transferred from that number sequence to that remedy, which equates to the energy of tuberculinum. Give it a whirl.
So,
give me some feedback.
Does this ever need, it's plugged in directly to the... Yes. I was struggling to ask Catherine the tough questions that were on my mind.
Somewhere, I can just put a battery in.
Okay, so you have a battery on... At this point, Catherine decided to do my job for me. You've done the dials.
How does it transfer the energy?
Exactly, that was...
Well, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
And I actually do not know the answer to that question, but I know it does.
Right.
And, with this is, again, the other reason why people, are so sceptical about homeopathy.
Yeah, sure.
They don't understand.
Sure, okay.
And it requires such a big, open expanse to expand our awareness into.
Yeah.
This is quantum.
We'd been on a break when our next conversation took place. We were leaving that night, and Catherine seemed determined to give us a warning about the possible consequences of making our documentary.
It's a good thing that Catherine sort of gives you a heads up. And certain forces who are opposed to, the light being spread won't like it.
So if you come to make what seems like, just a great idea to make a documentary about us, you're actually getting involved in something much bigger.
Okay.
You are actually becoming advocates of the Cosmic Masters. By your film, if you show footage of us praying on Holston Down, George King, do you see what I mean?
Yeah, we're part of that.
Yes. So it's just what George King used to say is watch points.
yourself sing.
In the 21st